After going 2-0 up in the series, South Africa are going to take on India in the third T20, hoping to seal the series once and for all in fine fashion, I'm hoping. And as South African fans, we all probably are wishing that that will take place. We'll be chatting about the game today on today's show. We'll be previewing the game, saying what we'd like to see. I'll be speaking about certain different types of things as well. But we'll start with the show with what Temba Bavuma had to say after the game. It is on our channel as well, but for those guys that maybe missed it, we can display it for you guys so that you guys can have an insight into what happened and what he had to say after the game. And after they chased a second score in a row, of course, to win the match against India. So, but before we get going, before we get started, let me first just put some other things out of the way. You guys have to subscribe, of course. You guys have to click that notification bell for all future videos. I also want to shout out to a new Patreon, Nashita Hanif, that has signed up as a Patreon on the account. Thank you very much for joining our Patreons. We really appreciate it. And as well, I would like you guys to subscribe to the magazine. Later, link is on the screen as well as in the description. And if you want to become a Patreon, you can become a Patreon today by clicking on the link on the screen as well as in the description. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. That's where you'll see reports. You'll see our videos that we'll post, etc. We'll do exclusive interviews and pieces and stuff like that as well on the site. So go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. That's where you'll get your daily dose of content as well, other than YouTube for our daily show. So without further ado, don't forget to smash that like button too, guys. It's very important that you do so. But let's get straight into today's content. I'm looking forward to chatting to you guys about the third T20 between South Africa and India. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. Sorry, I was going to say daily show, but I'm your host, Khalid. And this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. But in this particular episode, we'll be talking about the third T20 between South Africa and India. Now, South Africa's obviously gone 2-0 up in the series after a 4-wicket win. And we are really happy to see that South Africa is starting to find some sort of game plan and some sort of strategy and some sort of identity as a team, which we've been calling for quite some time on the channel. But I think the best way to kick off this preview show is for me to play you what Temba Bavuma had to say today. Yesterday after the game. It's very important that we do hear what our players have to say, captain, etc., all of those things, because it does help us get an understanding of what's going on and what they're thinking after games like this. Because it's easy for us to maybe say, a player did X or a player did Y. This is why they did X and Y and Z and all of those things. But it's nice to also hear what the players have to say and what they think about certain things. So I'm going to kick off the show with playing you guys a little bit of the presser and what it was. Not a presser, but it's a post-match interview from Temba Bavuma, and I'm gonna start off with that before we get going, guys, just so that you have an understanding. It is on the channel as well if you want to watch it later, but I thought we might as well react to it straight away and give you some insight into that. So let's start off the show with this.
On another win. Fantastic effort today by the team. Tell us a little bit about how you guys went about things.
Yeah, it was a good day for us. We got the result that we wanted. I think it obviously started with the bowling. I think the way we started up front was exactly how we wanted to. We wanted to be ruthless with the new ball. Hit that area, but exploit whatever is there in the wicket. Try to get some early wickets up front. And I think, we were able to apply the pressure throughout the innings, and whenever wickets fell, that really worked in our favour. In our favour. I think with the batting as well, could have been a lot more clinical, I think, probably at the end, but we'll take that result. fantastic innings by Clarkson, fantastic ball striking from him. So yeah, another win in the bag for us. You know, next game is upon us. It's a quick turn. So yeah, we'll enjoy today and prepare as well as we can for the next game.
Also, really good batting by yourself. How are you feeling about your form?
It was a bit tricky up front, to be honest, with the ball kind of nipping around, also being a bit of variable bounce. I tried to hang in there as much as I could. You know, allow a guy like Klossy to get himself in, play and kind of play around him. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played in a while, so you know, time in the middle is gold for me, and I'll obviously be looking to bowl from that innings.
See, that's what he said over there. What I like about that is playing around Clarkson and allowing Clarkson to be the explosive batter that he is, and you know he is. And that's something that I've been speaking about with regards to Temba's role that I feel he needs to do with Quinton de Kock. You know, make sure that he can be that person for Quinny and play around him and make sure that he can help Quinny accelerate and be the batter that we all know he can be if he opens the batting with Quinny. So it's good to hear that Pavuma is on the same wavelength as me currently when it comes to his role in the side.
And a series to win and South Africa while up front. What next?
What next? Well, like you said, you know, we do have a series to win. We still have 3 more games. We'll obviously focus on the next game. Try focus on achieving all those little achievables that we have, that we set for ourselves in the game. Take it game by game, and then, you know, I mean, after India, we'll reassess as a team and see where we go. But for now, we have a game in 2 days' time. That's what we're gonna focus as much as we can on.
Good to see that even with the loss of Quinny, you've got a team that can slot itself in. You've got players that are available to come in and to dominate as soon as they step in.
Yeah, definitely. I think that depth is something we've always trying to be building. You know, a guy like Klossy getting an opportunity with that freak injury with Quinny and his hand. And I mean, Klossy took that opportunity with both hands. He's obviously a big player for us in the middle innings. We know what we can do. We back him 100%. A lot of belief in him, and he showed it there once again why he's a part of his team. So yeah, the depth is something that we're trying to build. Guy like Reza as well coming in at the top. We know what Rezul can do for us at the top of the innings. And again with him, you know, there's a lot of belief, a lot of trust in his ability. So yeah, I think the batting unit at the moment is in a good place.
Yeah, the batting unit is in a good place, and I think it was a short interview, but it gave us enough information to see where Timba's at, where he sees his role, etc. So I had to get that out of the way just so that you guys could kick off the show. But you guys have been waiting for someone for the last couple of days to come on the show and speak his truth about what is going on with India. Hello, Aditya. I think the fans have been waiting for you for quite some time. Look, I'm gonna confess to you on live air over here. I might let it slip out that you sent me a dance video. It was in the heat of me trying to defend the fact of why you weren't here, and the chat went mad yesterday saying they want to see it. I told them they can only see it if they sign up to the Patron account, and then we maybe send it to the back end. But Aditya, we all know you said 4-1 at the beginning of the series, and you were very confident about
Yes.
that. I took it with a pinch of salt, me
Yes.
personally, because I know you were being overconfident. But you might say otherwise. What is your thoughts on the India performances so far? What's gone wrong? Give me your review for the last two games.
Okay. Um, well, kudos to South Africa. They did fantastically well to achieve the results that they did in the first two games. In the first game, I thought 211 was a great total, but in saying that, the nature of the pitch at the Firozshah Kotla has changed, because over the years what we've been used to has been, slow low tracks. And I think over the last year, since 2021, there's been a change in the nature of the pitch. I don't know if it's been relayed or not, but it has changed and it's become more high scoring, and the 180 to 200 plus scores have been more frequent. Uh, so I thought India did very well to get to 211. Uh, but they should have defended that score. I thought It was unacceptable. I wasn't particularly impressed with Rishabh Pant, the captain, and I haven't been even during his stint at the Delhi Capitals, because I felt like, bowling Hardik Pandya for just 1 over, bowling Yuzvendra Chahal for just 2 overs. The guy has taken 28 wickets in the IPL. He was a purple cap holder. You can't bowl him for just 2 overs in a game where South Africa is chasing 211. So I felt like the captaincy wasn't great, and obviously that dropped catch of Rassi van der Dussen when he was on 29 of 30, I believe. That certainly cost India dearly. Uh, but look, South Africa took that opportunity with both hands. It was a comprehensive win, and I thought David Miller and Dwayne Pretorius played the defining innings of that innings, because um, at one point after Temba's dismissal, it was very easy for South Africa to really go into their shell. So if Dwayne Pretorius came out smacking, he ensured that South Africa remained on track with that run rate, and then David Miller obviously saw it through. Uh, the kudos to South Africa. That was a fantastic game, and they deserve to win. With respect to the second one, I have to admit that I didn't watch the game. I was following it on the internet. So I think somewhere the score there could was an indication of the fact that it was a difficult wicket. But
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to do better than 148 to really win games of cricket consistently. And I felt
Yeah.
like that wasn't the case. Shreyas Iyer said that India was trying to employ this attacking brand of cricket, and that's fine. But I'm not sure that the conditions were conducive to that sort of cricket. So I think India certainly went wrong there. And Heinrich Klaassen, what can I say? Well played to him. It's been a while since we've seen that sort of innings from him, and for him to come out and play like that, he just played like he was batting on a different surface. So kudos to him. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's true what you say, because that's something that I saw in the game personally with my eyes. I saw it particularly that way, that India came out and they tried to be very attacking from the get go in the second game. I'm not going to talk about the first game. We obviously covered it extensively. I mean, that the review is doing excellently on YouTube currently. So thanks a lot, guys, for all the support. It was a record, but it's a record breaking for us at least, on this channel, for views and engagement, etc. So for the second one, though, it did look like that was the case. They came out swinging, and South Africa bowled well to that. They knew that they needed to keep their discipline with regards to keeping it tight, because if you miss, even though they miss slightly, you can go to the boundary. But Dinesh Karthik, we knew that when he comes out, he's going to be difficult to contain. Especially that was the perfect scenario kind of for him. He comes in and he can take a game away from you. I mean, that's something that South Africa has always been looking for, that type of player, and Arnie Klaassen basically played that role for us in that match. I want to ask you about Henry Klaassen specifically. Now, he's been given the spot obviously because Quinn de Kock got injured, and then obviously they needed to force a move to drop Stubbs and then bring him in because they needed the backup wicket keeper to play, and then Reza Hendricks opened the batting. Heinrich Klaassen doing what he did is going to put a lot of pressure on Victor Mpitsang with regards to selection. Another thing that possibly could happen. Now, I put Aiden on the front cover of this thumbnail because he had a 7-day isolation and he tested positive and went into isolation on the 8th of June. So the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th is today, and 14 will be tomorrow. So 7th day is tomorrow. It's possible that he could come out, test, and play, but it's highly unlikely because he's been in quarantine. So I'm playing with it a little bit with a fire over here when they're talking about it, because I'm thinking most likely the fourth one he'll be ready for, maybe perhaps the fourth and the fifth. But technically speaking, he'll be out of quarantine tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow. So we could possibly see something like that happen even this evening, maybe. I don't know how it works for them and what they're going to be doing to get him ready. Um, but where does Klaassen fit into the mix now? Seeing that he performed the way he did, do you think it's just great to have that type of backup?
100%. I think that's certainly a relief for South Africa um, because the firepower that Quinny's absence, lack of firepower that Quinny's absence created um, at the top of the order meant that someone in the middle order would have to fire. Um, and that was the perfect choice was Heinrich Klaassen because he's also experienced. He's done well against India. He's a good player of spin, and I think this was a perfect track to bring him in. Because it's the nature of the wicket meant that he could sort of, uh, take his time initially and then just smack. And yeah, I mean, if you look at the score as well, 148, like mentally it doesn't put as much pressure on you as like 198.
Hmm.
So, you don't feel like you need the launch immediately. So I certainly think that would have helped class.
And can we talk? Can you talk? Can you maybe tell me a little bit about what you think about Temba's role? Because he played a role that I thought was very important in this particular match, and he deserved some praise, not hectic praise with regards to like some people will maybe go overboard with regards to the praise. Others think good job, just a nod and a tap on the back because I think that he played a role that really protected Klaassen and allowed him to settle in and take the game forward. So, what's your thoughts on the role that Temba played in this particular match?
Yeah, I think it was perfect for that situation because Temba's wicket at that point, I think South Africa were 56 for 3 after 9 overs. And that's a pretty tricky situation to be in, right? Because it puts pressure on all the middle order batters coming in. But I think Temba held that innings together, and that stability from that end definitely helped Clausen get going. So I think it was a fantastic innings. And here, I think in that sort of context, you don't really need to consider strike rate as much because you're working with a different sort of total, right? I think that was fine. That was the perfect innings at that moment.
Mhm. Okay, so why do you think it went wrong for you? For you, why is it not 2-0 to India currently? Do you feel where is it the point? Where do you put your finger on it? Is it the captaincy that you spoke about earlier on? Is it
Yeah.
just application of a style? Is it maybe cohesion within the team because it's a new bunch of players playing together? Or what is your thoughts on that?
No, I think the captaincy certainly played a role there. And this is a conversation I've had with a number of people now because I know fans of Delhi Capitals are not as pleased as they were when Shreyas Iyer was captain. So I think that's certainly one thing, and I think performances, right? Like ultimately, you gotta put runs on the board, and you gotta take wickets. And you gotta field well, So you gotta get the basics of the team right. So
Hmm.
you get the basics right more often than not, you will win games of cricket. You don't do that right, you won't. And I think captaincy is an extension of that. So I think if you don't do that particularly well, you don't use your resources as well as you could, then you're going to lose. Like if you don't you don't bowl Chahal's full quota of 4 overs, you you will lose games of cricket because you're not marshalling your resources well enough.
He did get pretty. He was well. I was pretty impressed the way we handled Charles actually in the two matches. I think South Africa played really well
Yeah,
against him, considering the last time that he came down to South Africa. We are talking about that 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 series where I met you, etc. That 32 wickets between Kuldeep and himself, they just destroyed
yeah.
us. So I don't understand. I mean, I think South Africa combated him very well.
Definitely. And look, we've been talking about this for a while. There has been an improvement in the way that South Africa plays spin in all formats of the game. So, there's no disputing that. But in saying that, it is important to sort of use your resources well. Like I think the Rajasthan Royals used Chahal really well. Certainly in that, seventh to 15th over period. After the power play was really good. Um, but I don't think the same has been done. Certainly in that first game, it didn't go as to it didn't go to India's way. But let's see. Still got 3 more games.
I'm gonna troll you at some point if you win, right? You do know that, right? I'm just holding back because I don't want to run ahead of the Satija.
You're gonna troll me if what?
If we win.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. No problem. I have no problem at all.
Yeah, of course. I have to do it because the fans, I have to do them justice, I have to back them up here.
That's perfectly fine. Bro, you remember the day I predicted a I think when India went to South Africa, I predicted a 3-0 test series victory.
Yeah, I
And
know.
on the last day, like when the series got over and I came onto the show, I was wearing the Indian jersey. It's exactly what I'm gonna do if India loses this time as well. So no worries, brother. I'm prepared for your trolling as well as all the fans in the chat panel. Bring it on.
He loves it. That's what makes Aditya Aditya. Guys, that's why I hold back from my teasing when I tease Aditya because it doesn't really affect him anyway. So let's move on to the future. Okay, let's talk about the next game. Okay, so Werner, you're gonna come out here and probably correct me, but I'm gonna explain myself or why I put Aiden on the front of the thumbnail. So 8th of June, is when he tested positive and he went straight into quarantine for his quarantine period. That's 7-day quarantine, so that means that tomorrow he's out. But the chances of him going out and going straight into a team is going to be very, 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 very slim for that to happen. So I doubt he'll make it into this team for the next game, which is unfortunate because we're waiting to see him. So we're probably going to have to look at the next 2 games for Aiden to come back. So for you, for the next game, stick to the same team. I would perhaps maybe not play. It depends on Quinny the Cock as well. How long he's injured for, because they never gave us a time limit on how long he's injured for. But seeing it that it was quite a freak injury, that the way they described it, it sounds like he's going to be out for for maybe some time. Although they never gave us a earlier time on when he will be come back, or did they? Or did you see anything about that out there? I didn't see anything around regarding Quinny's availability. Do you stick with the same team? Or would you bring Stubbs in and maybe drop Riza Hendricks, who never had a good first game? Is that fair on someone like Riza? What is your changes? What would you make for the next game?
If Quinny is fit, I'll bring him in for Riza. But I'm not sure they're going to play him immediately again. I don't know how serious the injury is. It doesn't sound like a fracture or something. It sounds like more like it's bruised. So I'm not sure how long he will rest. He'll probably not play tomorrow because it's too short of a turnaround from yesterday to tomorrow to really make a massive difference. So I think they'll probably stick with the same team. Um, I'd I'd maybe give Lungi and Giri a go ahead of Andrix Norkia, give him a bit of a rest, give Lungi a go. But otherwise, probably the same team. When Markram comes back, which I expect would probably be the fourth game, then I'd bring Stubbs in and drop Keshav. So then I'd bring Markram um, in well, which news place is okay, Markram in place of there won't be space for Stubbs then, but bring Markram in for Keshav then when he is fit. I do feel we don't need two spinners necessarily in this series, and Markram can add 2 overs with the ball, so that's probably what I would do once he is fit.
What concerns me, Aditya, is like, we bring players in, and then, for example, Riza Hendricks now, and he didn't perform now, and then someone else is available again, and then you drop the person, and that only got one opportunity, but then you have the reverse, which happened with Clarkson, where he comes in, he wasn't supposed to play, comes in, and then performs the way he does. It makes it very hard to drop a person like that when a next person is available. Um, do you think that should happen? I mean, if Aiden's available, does Heinrich Klassen lose his spot, or did he deserve the chance to play another game?
I don't think they need to rush Aiden back into the mix simply because it's not healthy for a guy who's just had COVID-19, even if it's the Omicron variant. It's just not healthy for him to be going out and playing professional cricket. I think he has to ease into it. And I don't think there's an urgent need to bring him back in either. He can rest it out. Heinrich Klaassen has done a fine job, and he should continue to ride that wave of confidence that he's got from this game. Um, so yeah, I would definitely do that. Look, if Quinton de Kock is fit again, and there is that question if Riza should be dropped. I think it's tricky. It's tricky because it's not fair to Riza. He was brought in on a difficult surface, and it's chasing 148. You can't really expect histrionics from him, the pyrotechnics from him. Um, but I do think that having Temba, Quinton, and then Heinrich Klaassen and Miller in the middle order, in addition to Dwayne Pretorius, I think that makes South Africa a very strong team, and I think it would be an emotional decision to retain Riza in that case, and I feel bad for him. I really do. But if they want to win the series early, as the show is titled, then I'm supposed they're gonna have to take some outwards.
Yes, you noticed it. You noticed it. You noticed it. I was waiting for you to say something about it. Okay, further approach wise, I mean, I like the intent from South Africa. The intent that they're showing a lot of bravery. And it's difficult to want to make changes in a winning team, of course. Like you've already said, where things what you would do. Um, but can we talk about strategies? Can we talk about what you've enjoyed about the way South Africa's approach? What has enjoyed you? What's enjoyed it? What have you enjoyed the most about South Africa's approach in these matches, and the way they've conducted themselves on the field from a cricket perspective?
Yeah, I feel like they've had a set plan with the ball in this series so far. They've looked the ball pretty straight, used the wicket as well as possible. The first match was a bit difficult, obviously, because the pitch was flat, the boundaries are short. Not a lot you could do if you don't exactly execute those Yorkers at the back end. It was always going to be a high scoring event that first match. But in the second match, they used that slower wicket very well, bowled it into the wicket, used cutters, bowled wicket to wicket where they could. So I enjoy the way that we approach it. It seems like they have a clear plan, clear field settings from Temba. Was smart not to use the spinners too much when he saw that the pace bowlers
Yeah.
had more of an effect on that pitch. And in terms of batting, I've enjoyed the approach of Miller. Obviously, he's in form. How Clarkson approached his innings as well. He got himself set early, took a few balls, but then he quickly made up for it. It didn't take too long then to really accelerate that run rate and bring that required run rate down. So I'd like to see more of that type of approach from Rassi as well. If he gives himself 10 balls, that's fine, but he needs to really get going after that. I don't think it's a winning strategy to be at the runner ball for 25 balls and then try to catch up at the back end. That it's a bit it's leaving things a bit too late. So hopefully he can turn things around in that case. Same for Temba. I felt like he did his role well on that pitch. It was a slow pitch and he did what he needed to do. But it'll be interesting to see how he approaches when it's a good wicket, because on good wickets you can't have one guy going at 100 or just over 100 while the other guys are striking it big. On good wickets, you need to really be going at on from both sides. Otherwise, you'll be behind in the game. So, as long as we are adaptable in that way, I think we're looking good.
And I want to ask you extra thing, and Aditya, you can obviously add straight after Werner to this, but the Dwayne at three, we all had our own opinions about it in the first match. It was a brave decision, but I thought that the wicket and I thought that the small boundaries, it made sense in the end that was a good decision to make, because you can clear the ropes, and the way the conditions were and the pitch was, the ball was coming onto the bat a lot better. When you miss, if you just missed a little bit of an inch, the ball's flying out of the park because it was that small boundaries. But in the second game, that it wasn't the same scenario at all. It was a lot trickier to bat on this pitch. It wasn't necessarily the same short boundaries that we were expecting. The ball wasn't going flying out of the ground with ease necessarily. Only when Clarkson made it look quite easy, Dinesh Karthik made it look quite easy. But I mean, that's a special type of players that can do that. So this, do you feel that South Africa would have still picked him at three if Aiden was available?
Um, I don't think so, and I also wouldn't have played him at number three. In that second match, the pitch that wasn't really conducive for it, and we weren't chasing a massive total, so I don't think there was any real need to send him in at three, unless they're just trying to lengthen the batting lineup because it does look a better light still, to me. But I'd rather bring in Rossi at three. He needs a bit of time, so get him in there at three, let him get going. And now that while Markram is not playing, it's a golden opportunity to bat Miller at four, in my opinion. And so now they brought Heinrich Clarkson in ahead of him in the last game. So Miller again shifted down to six, which is exactly what I don't want. So rather than, if you want Clarkson to come in at five, send Miller in at four then while Markram is not playing. That's my opinion. I'd rather have Miller in early. I don't really care for this ploy of, okay, we're only going to send Miller in after the 12 over, not before, because he's good enough. His technique is good enough to play out a longer part of the innings, get set, and he can make, if he comes in before the 10th over, he can make an 80, and that can more than likely win you the game. So I don't see the reasoning in really holding him back longer than is necessary. I just send him in at four. If two wickets have fallen by the fifth over, send him in. I wouldn't hold him back personally.
Yeah, Aditya, your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I thought that they would possibly bring Muller in earlier in that scenario. Because I mean, you if you want to get yourself out of that power play, I didn't expect Dwayne to come in, even though he's batted at three before in the past. I mean, we've seen him do it successfully in the past on different scenarios, though completely. But what's your thoughts on that?
Well, Ben needs to be there when South Africa needs some sort of a boost in run rate. He's there to take that risk. I'm not sure that strategy can be employed in every single match scenario, and I don't endorse the idea that he should be South Africa as number three, um, just on the back of that one game that he flew. But I agree completely with Werner when he says that Miller shouldn't be held back to the 12th over. He's good enough to go in the fifth, sixth, seventh over as well, and he can construct an innings. We've seen that. So I think we're doing David Miller's talent a disservice if the only thing we think he's capable of is smacking them out of the park at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to do a preview for something like this when it's so close to the game. There hasn't been really much time for us to like unwind and think about everything really properly since the game was just yesterday. But let's give your predictions tomorrow. What would you like to see tomorrow? I mean, me personally, I want to see at least a couple of times in this series. I would like to see South Africa bat first and see what they can do and if they can set a nice total. So what would you like to see, Werner? And then, and of course, Aditya, how do you think India? What do you think India must do to get a win? In this particular series, it's been quite tough for them to find a victory.
I just like to say that Dicha probably had a lot of time to unwind at the wedding, so he's a step ahead of us in that regard. But yeah, I'd also like to see us bat first, at least two matches. If we win the toss, choose to bat first, put ourselves under a bit of pressure, see what we can do as setting a total and defending it, and because it probably won't be as easy. And it'll be good to test ourselves in that way in the lead up. I mean, I was just thinking about this today. The World Cup is literally only 4 months away. It feels like that should be a lot further, but
Really?
somehow we're
For
already in June and it's only 4 months away from the World Cup. And I
Oh
was thinking, oh
wow.
no, it's only in October, November, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's only 4 months from now. So it's a lot closer than we might think. So this is the opportunity to use it, to use well. I mean, we literally have next month we're going to England and Ireland, but we're not going to play a bunch of T20s in the lead up to the World Cup. So it's important to make use of this now to test things out, to test ourselves, setting a target. So that's important. From an India point of view, I think they need to make a couple of changes, possibly, give some other guys a go. I'd personally play Arshdeep Singh. I think he has a lot of talent, and I think he'd be very good for them at the depth, especially. And he's shown to be good in the power play as well, for Punjab. So I'd play him. Maybe give Ravi Bishnoi a go. Though it will probably take away a bit from their batting depth if he comes in for Akshar Patel. I don't see them dropping Chahal. So it's a bit of a difficult call. But I think somebody like Chahal just needs to bring some of those smarts he has to the game as well. He's been making it a little bit easy for the batters, floating it up right into the slot, making it a bit too easy to just hit him out of the park. So, but he's good enough to come back strongly as well. I feel like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Avish Khan have done a good job with the new ball, especially. So there's not that much they need to rectify, probably with the bat more than the ball. Just their approach in general. But still, I think it should be a competitive match.
Well, you asked me what I'd like to see tomorrow. I would like to see a win, whether it's a one-run win or a one-wicket win or a half a wicket win. I would love to see a win, so that we
How do
can
you think
keep
they do
this
it? How do they do it?
series
How do they
alive.
go about it?
Bat well, bowl well, field well, do the basics right, be sensible. India has got the talent, they've got the merit to be able to win. Simple as that. And if the plans are good enough, they need to execute a bit better. That's it. I don't think it's rocket science. So if there is, what I do think is that if we go back to the second T20, perhaps one thing that they can do better is that they can assess situations a bit better. Bring in that MS Dhoni school of thought that if a par score is 150, then try to get to 150, and whatever else you get is bonus. And I think that's something they could have done better yesterday. Hopefully they'll learn their lessons, and they'll find a way to win in the third T20.
Yeah, I mean, let's read some comments and see what some of the people have to say at the end. We've got Lawrence Bailey saying maybe chasing at Vizag is the way to go. Very tiny ground and good batting wicket also. We've got Lorenzo saying Tempo Pavuma will be crucial for us in Australia. He can use those huge boundaries as a way to hit the gaps and find those threes. Looking at the positives, as we all know, Tempo will definitely play. Marwan Kriel saying, same team tomorrow. If we win, I'd like to see Janssen in for Nokia and Ngidi in for Rabada. And somewhere Markram can get a chance with Stubbs. What's your thoughts on that, Werner?
Yeah, I'd like to see some changes if we do win tomorrow. I think the only way that Markram and Stubbs plays together is if Quinny doesn't play and Markram comes up to open the batting with Temba. Then maybe they can fit in Stubbs unless they decide to drop Clarkson. Then if Stubbs comes in for Clarkson, that'll probably work out the same way. Otherwise, it probably won't happen in the series now that Clarkson has had that knock. He did. It's a bit tough on Stubbs. He played one game, didn't get to bat. But he'll get his chance in due course. He definitely has the talent and potential. So I'm sure he'll get this opportunity. But yeah, so the only way I can see them playing together is if Quentin doesn't play the rest of the series and they decide to bring in Markram for Reza, and then Stubbs in for Keshav, and then Markram bowling a couple of overs, or Stubbs maybe turning his arm over for 1 over, possibly.
Aditya, I want to know about this because the last time as well, Henry Clarkson did play quite well against Charles. He was actually one of the players that really did well in that series, in that one-day international series I'm talking about particularly. So Clarkson has Charles' number. In my opinion, it's bad match up for Charles. Clarkson just reads wrist spinners as well as any other batter has ever done. Now, there's an episode on this channel of the Knockdown series where Henry Clarkson spoke to me about his upbringing and what they used to do. And he does feel that the way him and his father and his brothers, etc., and family members used to roll pitches and build and put together or roll pitches together and fix pitches together at in their hometown where they were staying. So those pitches were a lot more conducive for spin and movement, etc. He spoke about that, and he tended to do a lot of more sweeps back in the day and finding ways to play on that type of surface as a kid already. So it's kind of been ingrained in him. So go listen to what he had to say in that episode. It's in the on lockdown episodes on this particular channel. Go find it, guys. There is a playlist for it, so you can go and check what he had to say. It's either in the lockdown series or in the unlocked series. I'm not 100% sure which one it is. Just go check both playlists. Aditya, your thoughts on this? Because Dale Benkenstein after that series told us that we don't have a problem against spin. It's just the fact that South Africa haven't played against someone of Charles' caliber that bowls the way he does with his technique. And they haven't faced Kuldeep a lot and it's a unique angle that he bowls from too, and that's why they struggled because they haven't really played against much. And they tried to, he said he tried to replicate it in the nets by bowling a little bit wider and trying to bowl the balls a little bit wider for people to mimic the action he had Justin Ontong with the to try and help for bowling from throwing from that angle, and it didn't help. So, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that that's true? Is Clarkson um, playing a lot better against the wrist spinners and being able to read them a lot better and easier?
Well, I mean, Klaasen is a good player of spin. We've known that for a long time, and sure, his interactions with Chahal have been fairly entertaining for all of us. And Chahal unfortunately has been at the receiving end of a lot of Klaasen's pyrotechnics. So that's fine, but I don't think the solution there is to not pull Chahal when Klaasen is batting. I don't think it works that way. So what Chahal probably want to do is work with the video analyst and find ways in which you can make Klaasen uncomfortable. And bowl better lengths, bowl better lines. Flight the ball a bit more. Whatever it is, he needs to figure that out. But the solution is not to look. Otherwise, if you have seven batters, each of them have done well against a certain bowlers. We can't keep replacing entire bowling lineups, right? There's enough quality in opposition to be able to sort of work these things out. So, if someone has Andrik Nokia's number a couple of times, it doesn't mean that you don't bowl Andrik Nokia to that guy. It just means that Andrik has to find a way to bowl better to that individual. So I think it's just that. Um, but yeah, I mean, fair play to Klaasen. He's done brilliantly against Chad.
Yeah, and I think same counts for Shamsi against Ayer, right? So Ayer has been struggling big time against pace, not only in the series, but he struggled in the IPL as well against high quality pace. But he's dominated against spin, and so the moment Shamsi has come in, he's looked to take him down. So it's something that Shamsi will also have to work out.
Yeah.
Same for Keshav against the left-hander. So Ishan Kishan is taking him on. It's the same type of thing. Ishan Kishan has loved the extra pace of Andrik Nortje again in the series so far, but Andrik Nortje then doubled up and bought him a very good bouncer to get him out. So there are workarounds despite the batter might having a better matchup against them.
And like Aditya said before the series even started, we spoke about conditions, about spinners, etc. We can see that the seamers are dominating with the wicket stylies. They are the ones that are dominating with the surfaces that they've bowled on so far. Getting seam movement, a little bit of swing maybe in here and there, but mainly seam movement, balls off the seam that are moving in and angling in beautifully. I mean, Bhuvi has been excellent. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite bowlers. I always wished he played more. But I think he obviously been riddled with a lot of injuries as well in his past. So that also would have stopped him. But he's so amazing. Imagine him and Shami in the same. Oh my God. Don't even want to think about it. The movement I will get. Oh, my Lord. I don't even want to know. Do you want to talk about movie a little bit? Because I mean, wow, he's been impressive again.
Yeah, look, I think for a long period of time, you're sort of missing that spark. And certainly the Sunrisers Hyderabad were at the receiving end of that because, he was for a number of years, that go-to death bowler. So I think to see him back bowl the way he has, over the years has been refreshing, and uh, it's important that Bhuvneshwar Kumar is in peak form, because at his best he is a fantastic bowler.
I see Lauren saying Khalid live watch along tomorrow. Look here, I would love to do a watch along, but at the moment I don't have the personnel to be able to do it first and foremost, because I have to obviously watch the game, do reports, etc., all of those things. So for me to do that and cover the game from a reporter's point of view as well as doing the watch along at the same time is going to be tough. But besides that, it's my equipment. The equipment that I use, I need to get a proper camera and stuff like that that can handle me streaming for like 4 hours straight, because that's going to actually what I'm going to need to do. Um, my system already struggles after an hour sometimes, and that's why you'll see sometimes it will go a little hazy or something. I need to get that. That needs to improve. That needs to be better. And when I improve that, guys, then we can start implementing things like that. So that's why I say get involved with the Patreon account, 'cause that will help towards that. Final thoughts from everybody. Let's start with Aditya and then Werner to end off.
Well, win tomorrow, India. Over and out.
Win tomorrow, South Africa. Under and in.
I knew he was gonna. I just knew he's gonna do that. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. I would also like you guys to become a Patreon, please. Join Lawrence and the boys and Werner and everybody else that is Patreons. Join them. They're part of the community. Click on the link on the screen as well as in the description. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. That's where you'll get our reports, you'll get our reaction pieces, presser reaction videos. I mean, not videos, but the reports. You'll get videos that we put up as well. The press conferences are there too. You also get some exclusive columns, fan opinions, features, all of those type of things. So go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. We need your support there too.
Sorry, just
Aditya?
one more thing. Yeah, Arvind has written a comment saying that Aditya, by chance, if I say win tomorrow, fans will start to go after you. Please do tune in to Cricket Fanatics magazine right after the game. My Instagram handle is Aditya U Mehta. Twitter handle is exactly the same. Facebook is Aditya Mehta. So bring it on, people. I'm ready for you.
I
Awesome.
just realized his surname's pronunciation is the, it makes me think of that ad that you better go get her, yo get her. The sooner Aditya yo meta. But in any case,
Oh Lord, this guy! I'm gonna set up an interview with you and Neil Mack. You guys can talk to each other and make dad jokes all day. It'll be a fun one interview to watch. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. We guys enjoyed this episode. You know what to do, and we'll see you again tomorrow after the game. Excited about it. Let's hope that South Africa can go 3-0 up, and we can have some fun on the channel tomorrow. It will be a call-in show again. Keep an eye out for the links. It will be in the live chat and as well as in the description. You can click on it and you can just come directly to us and come speak to us about the game and about the series. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again soon. Peace, everybody. Enjoy your evening.